Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Manchester United returned to Premier League action with a defeat at the City Ground. And look, Nottingham Forest did a job on us, didn't they? Nottingham Forest did what they do, which is don't have a lot of possession, sit behind the ball, hit teams on the counter-attack, hit teams in transition. We can't handle that. I mean, our build-up play was okay at points. I disagree with KG in the sense that we created chances. I don't think we really created that much. I think the sort of 24 shots, 6 on target's a bit false. Obviously, XG, it's a bit false. But that's Manchester United. That's what we've done. A lot of season, we're just completely toothless and don't really have any clinical, cutting edge to us at all. I mean, for all of I know Maguire went close at the end, but I think if we carried on that game, I don't know if we would have scored, to be totally honest with you guys. But Manchester United are back, and we're back to Premier League action. Yeah. Kind of that familiar feeling, isn't it? This is the full-time view where members can call in and have their say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. You can also click the join button. If you haven't already, click the like button and also be sure to subscribe. If you are a member and you want to call in, you can go to the United View YouTube page, go over to the community tab. You can find the post. I think it's called just posts now. You can go to the post tab. And if you're a member, you'll be able to see it. If you are also a member, you might get like an email or a link or something like that. Either way, members can find the link. They can call in. They can have their say. What people in the chat already saying? Already a lot of chat in there. Hassan says, patience, guys, patience. Real Recognize Real says, I wish it was still the international break. Chris says, never doubted it when people forget after being crap. I always remember what we really are. CG says, oh, wow, same old, same old. Yes, I think that's kind of sort of that resigned kind of feeling, isn't it? Right, let's get to the calls. Let's start with Show. Show, same old, isn't it? Welcome back to watching Manchester United in the Premier League.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I think the saddest part of that game was that after 5 minutes, I felt the game was over. That's the saddest part because I just thought once we went behind, we were just never going to score. And I thought the overall performance wasn't that bad, given our kind of away performances this season against the big teams. But again, I thought a lot of it was by design as well because I thought obviously Forest went to the back three quite early. They kind of took the opportunity when Olaina got injured, just go, you know what, let's just sit on the lead because United aren't going to do anything. So I thought we got in down the sides quite easily, but again, the final ball was just horrendous on both sides. I mean, Dallo and Dorgu, but I mean, I don't know what level is below Hall of Shame, but whatever level that is where Garnacho belongs, I think. Just in general, in his performances since January, but tonight especially, I don't know. It's just like what you can notice in the second half was that Dorgu actually stopped overlapping on the left because he just knew Garnacho wasn't going to pass to him. And I just think, from Amorim's point of view, there's two things. One, the fact that Garnacho played full 90 is the absolute shocker from Amorim, I think. And the other thing is, if you're not going to play him on the right, just don't play him. Because I think when you play him on the right, you actually force him to go out on the outside and cross it. And you actually force him to pass to his teammates, which you shouldn't have to do. You shouldn't have to force one of your players to pass the ball, but if you're so desperate to play him for that pace on the counter, that ball carrying ability, that whatever limited ball carrying ability he has, right? Play him on the right, or just don't play him at all because you play him on the left, and you're always going to get what you get today, which is just cut in and shoot, just rinse and repeat. But yeah, it's just another one of those frustrating attacking performances where, again, like the best chance we got was Maguire at the end by playing him up front as an auxiliary striker, which is embarrassing in itself in 2025, right? But yeah, we just didn't create much. But I don't think we deserve to lose the game. I think if the game ended because I think apart from the goal, Forest didn't. Onana could have had a cup of tea today. I mean, he played his part as usual in the goal by basically taking about 15 minutes to dive down, but yeah, they didn't do anything for the goal, apart from the goal, which is frustrating. But again, we had a lot of possession. And I think the statistics will show we had 24 shots. But again, like you mentioned, Sells didn't really save anything.
No. I mean, I saw you in the chat talking about, obviously, people were in January when you were linked to Chelsea, Garnacho. I mean, not that it's based off just one thing tonight, but what are your thoughts about his future? You know, obviously, with all of this talk about the summer and rebuilding, would he be a name that you would be considering going, yeah, cash in? You know, and maybe tonight's not the exact reason why, but that's just sort of evidence to back up your point.
He's not considering for me. I think he's got to go in the summer. I mean, I wanted him gone in January, but I guess there's only so many attacking players you were going to get rid of in January, considering we didn't replace any of them. So I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Considering we let Rashford and Anthony go in January and we didn't replace them, I understand we kept Garnacho fine, but I don't see a player there. I'm sorry, I don't. I know there's this, and I guess there's another reality that the fans that kind of defend him will say that if we didn't play him so much at the beginning, maybe we could have developed him slowly. There'll be less pressure on him, and I would see a different player if we just kind of dripped him in and out. I get that version that people talk about, but unfortunately, we are at the situation now where we have overplayed Garnacho. 100% we have overplayed him because he's not a good enough player to start for us week in, week out. If we want to improve, right? I guess you could argue he is good enough for a team that is 13th, right? So in that sense, he probably is. But if we want to improve, he's not. But yeah, I mean, there's someone if someone offers, oh, I'm not going to be one of those people. I'll take 10 million for him. You know, some people will say just get rid of him. But for me, you get something even around 40 mil. I think that's good money for him. I think that's his. I don't think you're going to get much more than that. I mean, I just think I look at him. I just think I don't like. Look, I don't know the guy, but I just think his mentality comes off very poor. I don't think he comes across as a team player, and I don't want people like that at the club. I think he's very full of himself, and I think if you act like that, I got no problem with it. But then you got to do your talking on the pitch. If you can, if you act like the most arrogant player ever, I couldn't care less if you back it up, right? But when you don't back it up and you put in performances like that, that's when it makes you look bad. And he's done it for a while now.
Strong words from the show. Big up as always for calling in. If you haven't already, click the like button. Where are we at in terms of likes? We're at nearly 50. Let's see if we can get to a quick 100 likes. Also, be sure to subscribe as well. What are people saying here in the chat? Kay says he's just not good. Let him go. Real Recognize Real says, don't agree, Kay. He might be a very good player at some point. We don't have time for that shit. There's a lot of talk about Garnacho in the chat. Genesis 89 is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome to you. If you wish to join Genesis, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat. Where are we going to go to next? I mean, look at this guy, Aminor. It's time for pillow talk. I mean, that's probably better than some of the other performances this evening. What did you make of it all?
Good evening, Owen. Thank you for inviting me.
Evening.
Yeah, pillow talk time.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, Owen. I watched the game. I fell asleep in the second half for about 20 minutes.
No, I'm not surprised. You've got a track record, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I did go to the gym before, so yeah, I was a bit tired. I was actually quite proud of the performance the first half. Taking the positives and really impressed with the first half. But like Show said, I'm not going to repeat everything that Show said, but I can't see the cutting edge in terms of we had the possession, we can play the way we want to play, but we're just not clinical enough or to create a credible goal threatening opportunity consistently. And Alanga scored that wonder goal. But apart from that, I know I can't remember Forest having many chances. Obviously, the Onana saved goal where he dived to his left hand side post from a header from Yates. But that game was there for a draw. That's the frustrating thing. It wasn't a bad performance that we lost that game. It just felt like a missed opportunity for us to really kick on and take something for the game against Lyon. So that's why I'm disappointed with more than anything. And I know you're probably going to ask me about Garnacho, but that was my feeling towards the game.
Yeah, what did you make of the Garnacho, I guess, discussion about him coming out of the match, his future? Obviously, there's been chat about Cobby as well, but he's also been a name that's been brought up. Do you see a scenario where he could get sold in the summer?
I think he should get sold, if I'm honest. Not because of tonight's performance, just because financially, we need to raise funds to buy new players, and he's product of the academy, well, strictly. He was bought from Atletico Madrid, but he'll be a pure profit sale for. So for that reason, if we get 55 million plus for him, I'd be happy to sell him. But it's not just because of tonight's performance. I sent in a super chat. I don't know if you remember, Owen, before we started on the United View, that was at half time. I can't remember. His first touch, Garnacho's first touch especially, was absolutely disgusting. You could see him running with the ball, but as he was kicking the ball along, you could see him almost losing control of the ball, and then he'll crash into somebody, and then it'll evaporate. That is down to coaching. If he's not learning that, if he can't do that now at his age, then I'm sorry. Either he doesn't have the ability to do that, or he hasn't been coached to do that. And I think it's not all his fault. Like Show said, he's been rushed to the scene. Had he had more time to be coached, I suspect he wouldn't make those types of mistakes. He reminds me a little bit, not similar, but he reminds me a little bit of Rashford in that sense. He runs with the ball, but does he know what to do with it? And that's the frustrating thing. But it also showed me that today's game. I don't know if you noticed how much Bruno Fernandes was marked out by Yates and the midfield. It's embarrassing to say this, but we are becoming like a one-man team. If Bruno Fernandes gets marked out, where are the chances coming from? Where are the credible goal threats coming from? It took Maguire to come onto the pitch for us to increase our XG, which is horrendous to say in 2025. That is bad.
I remember Ten Hag did it against Real Sociedad in 2022, and he was criticised for it. That's like 3 years ago. And we're still doing the same thing.
I mean, 3 years on, and we haven't developed as a club. We're going to a backup plan of Maguire, put Maguire up front to do that. So, am I worried? I'm not worried because I think we've got to give the manager the summer to see what he does. But it's just frustrating. It's a really frustrating result. I genuinely, usually I'm quite angry when we lost, but today we've lost. But I'm more angry that we didn't get anything out of that game because I felt like our performance deserved a draw.
Yeah, I think a draw would have been a fair result, but that's what Forest have been doing all season, isn't it? Just nicking those results and on the counter attack. Big up Amador. I tell you what, the UV community, when it comes to Amador, my £600 life is outrageous. That is too much. We should be on TLC or something like that. JP saying UV station, The Manchukushner said one. I fully had to bite my lip because I thought it took a while to land. He went, the Titanic paint in his back. And I went, what's he talking about? And I was looking behind him. I was going, what Titanic? And I went, oh, Amanor is the painting. I was like, oh my God. With the headset on, obviously, it's got to be tasteful. At least I can look forward to that every full-time video. I can't look forward to the result or anything like that, but we can get, Pillow Talk with Amanor, can come in. And that was it. When he went, I fell asleep during the game, and I saw one in the chat went, well, you are lying down in your bed, so that might be why. I went to the gym before. Your lead vertical, like horizontal. That might be why you fell asleep during that one. But yes. Where are we at in terms of likes? We still have 100 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Let's go to another call, shall we? Let's go to Chalaboy Comics. Chalaboy Comics.
How's it going?
Well, we thought we can't really do back-to-back wins in the Premier League or anything like that. That'll be too much for us. It's a loss tonight. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, back-to-back wins is tough. United Strand is gonna have to wait another sequence. No, I felt like today was fine. Not in terms of the result is disappointing. It's not good enough in where we need to be as Man United, but I mean in terms of the general performance, it's fine. In terms of we didn't play badly, maybe that's where our standards are at the moment. But we build up was all right. We had a decent game all around. The only problem is that the start of the game was probably exactly how Nuno dreamt it. The guy went to sleep yesterday. Espiritu Santos, the Holy Spirit, he talked to the Holy Spirit and basically said, I want an early goal and I want to be able to sit back and counter. And that's perfect, in terms of the game plan. And I'm sure on the flip side, Amorim was probably banging it on in in our team. Do not concede the early goal. Do not concede the early goal. So that shows its fine margins. A lot of people are saying, whose fault is it? Is it Onana's fault? It's just collective. At this level, the fine margins are so small, and that's the difference between 3 points or not, as we've seen today. I say, if we even look back, the reason why we were in this scenario is because Bruno's corner did not clear the first man. That was the critical point. And in fact, Eriksson, when he came in, his corners were not too good, right? So that corner happens, doesn't clear the first man, and then you're looking for your rest defense to stop these transitions before they happen. Normally, it would be Ahmad who would be in Garnacho's position, and you would probably back Ahmad to be more defensively aware, to get in there to stop it before it happens. Dorgu should have done better in terms of his recovery. So there were just mistakes that happened all along that sequence. And then the final combination is something that's plagued us all season, not just all season, like for the last 3-4 years, is that our squad is not athletic enough. We've talked about it, intensity. We've talked about, power, pace. And Elanga just showed where we're lacking. Dorgu is our most athletic player, and he got outrun by Elanga. So that just shows the deficit in which our squad makeup is. So if we're talking about transfers and stuff, we have to look at improving athleticism in the center of the park. I imagine Casemiro would leave, and then just in general, through the team. But after that goal, we played decently. We had some good moments. Dello hit the crossbar. Maguire came in, had that chance. Everyone's saying that, oh, this is bad that Maguire's coming in. For me, when I look at football, I'm a realist. Look at what's going to give you the tactical edge in any specific matchup. If it means playing a center-back as a striker like Erik ten Hag did against Liverpool and we won the game, let's do that. I'm not fussed about, the fact. Now, maybe from a team building perspective, we need to have another striker, but we're dealt with the cards we have. It doesn't matter if Maguire came up. We just fell short because our final ball or our final pass, wasn't good. There was a chance where we were building up really nicely, and then Bruno played a one-time pass out wide, I think, to Dorgu, but he mishit the ball, and it rolled really slowly to Dorgu. It got to his position, but the momentum of the move had broken down. These are the finer details that are basically gonna be the difference between whether we draw or lose, or win a game. So, I'm not mad because, again, this team has disappointed us throughout this whole season. But I feel like the vitriol, pointed towards Garnacho, and some.
What do you make of that? What do you make of the Garnacho stuff? Is it overblown? Is it confirmed, opinions? Because it wasn't good for him this evening. But on the left-hand side in general, it wasn't good. Dorgu didn't have a good game on the left-hand side either. So, how do you see it?
So I see it in two ways. I think on the day, it's chemistry issues. I don't know how long Dorgu and Garnacho have had to form a partnership together. I think both of them were off, and so they weren't reading each other. That can happen. So not a good performance by Garnacho. However, if you think about it, he was the only one who was sort of trying to create a threat, trying to go forward, trying to beat his man. Which, if you look at, and this leads to the second part of it, if you look at Nani's interview with Rio Ferdinand, he talked about wingers and how today's wingers, it pains them whenever they have 1v1, have space in behind, and they check back. We have a player who is unlike other wingers of today. Like Elanga showed he has the ability, but it's just when you have the ball, push forward, attack your fullback, put pressure, and make it hell for them. Garnacho was doing that. Now, if you talk about his place in the team, his place in the squad, I think there are such clear points of improvement that if Garnacho makes, his game will take on to the next level. I've said it a million times, so this is 1,000,001. He just needs to get stronger in the legs and become more of a physical specimen, because that's going to allow him to have that burst, which is going to give him that extra half a second of time, which will give him that time to compose himself for a shot. If he works on his strength, on his legs, his lower body, his core, he will be a much better player. And then on the second part, he's 20. Nani mentioned that it took him a couple years to realize how to play outside of this individualistic mindset. where he said Ryan Giggs told him, watch the space, look at the space, use the space to your own advantage. This is a natural progress or a natural development for a player this age. Nani came in at 20, Garnacho is 20 right now. I still believe that with good coaching, with better players around him, with people who are able to make him be more accountable, he still has so much room to improve. So I don't understand why we're so aggressively wanting him to be the perfect product at age 20. Now, obviously, I know it's Manchester United and we have to wait. We're not patient, but we have to be patient with some people. Garnacho's going to frustrate, but at the same time, if one of these shots that he takes goes in, we're having a different conversation. And it's not to say that he was outright just ignoring the better option each time. He didn't have too many options around him, and he just decided to take the game on the scruff of his neck. So when I look at Garnacho, I personally want him in our squad at least for the next 2 years, just to see how his development works. And if at age 23, around 24, hasn't taken that next step, I still think he's going to take the same amount of value that he's been asked by United fans, like 40 million. I think in 3 years his value is still going to be around 40 million at the very least. And the alternative is that if he improves, his value could go up to 50, 60, 70, 80 million, right? So I'm willing to have this experiment with Garnacho because he has that mentality of trying to beat your man. He's hungry for that approach to play. It's just when his mental catches up with his physical, I think he'll be a better player. So I think it's overblown, and I just don't understand why we're so quick to try and bring these players down. It frustrates me, to be honest.
Frustration from Chalaboy Comics. Big up, as always, calling into the show. We did hit 100 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button and also be sure to subscribe. Let's go to another call straight away. Let's go to JJ. JJ, what did you make of what you saw this evening? A frustrating one.
It was tiring.
Yes.
It was tiring, and I'm not going tiring to the point that after the game I took a nap. That it kind of sucked the life. And I want to pick up from when I think his name is Chalaboy. Am I mispronounce it?
Yeah.
Because I was listening to you guys on Red Carpet yesterday, and when KG brought up the point of the development of Garnacho compared to the development of Kobe Mainoo, and it pains me, but United is going to kill our young talents. The situation that we are in, because he made an example of Nani. Nani had gigs in the team, right? Who does he have to look up to? Because I was looking at him during this game, because when you are in a profession, if you're able to self-audit yourself as the game is going on, to be like, you know what, I've tried this 3-4 times. How about let me try something else? And he wasn't able to self-audit himself. It's like, when you're going through life and something crazy happens and you just go back to what to that default settings. And it's so painful because he has things that many players don't have. He has self-belief. He believes his own shit. He really does. You could see it in the way he carries himself. But you can be very confident and still be very stupid at the same time.
Yeah.
You understand, if you're doing the wrong thing. And that was my frustration, because yes, we don't want him to check back, but if somebody is giving you an overlapping run, can you assess in real time, is this the time I cut in, or is this the time I take the help? Right?
Yeah.
Because if you notice in the game, I think it was in one of those Europa game, right, where he actually took the help, and Dogu was, getting in the cross, whether it was the cross on the ground or whether it was the, the one that comes over the hair. So I hope he's able to get better, because I believe, and this is funny, we like the love story of seeing our young ones successful. It makes for a better story arc, right?
Yes.
And I'm kind of a sucker for that. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see him become that thing. But as time goes on, if there is no change next season, and when I mean change as a growth, when you want to see that growth, and the growth doesn't necessarily result immediately, but when you see him taking better care of the ball, making use of the options, because like at the end of the day, I love Bruno, but we could still see some of those non-growth mistake that even someone as far gone as Bruno is still making. One more thing. I feel bad for Dogu, this game. I'm Nigerian, he's my countryman and stuff like that, but it's bound to happen. He's still new in the league. You understand? We don't know, they are professionals. They should try to block out what is going on in their personal life and things like that. We don't know what something was on his mind during this game. You understand? And you could see in the way his body language. And he's no Elanga when it comes to speed. During that first goal, his speed showed.
Do you think we made a mistake? Do you think we made a mistake when it comes to Elanga? Did that make you go?
He didn't even go for the tackle. He didn't, because yes, Garnacho couldn't, get the ball from behind, but he didn't even engage Elanga. He didn't engage. He didn't try to come around him, and maybe it was just a speed thing. You understand? Because he couldn't catch up. And when you look at that goal from the back pole, Onana didn't paint himself in good colors either. No. He's like, he doesn't know where his goal pole was, right? And it's not even about coming out, but at least you want to stay central and stuff like that. But hey, it's the league game. It's whatever. I would have loved to see a draw. I would have loved a situation where, and when I said that, we're killing our youngsters and stuff. At 70 minutes, Garnacho needs to have been pulled out of that game. A young man, you've tried, get some rest, you understand. But then when you look at the bench, if we're doing 210s, Zuxi was playing nice. Can't we have Mounts just replace Garnacho? Because Mounts is clearly supposed to be 10 when he played under the Tuchel, setup also. But we burned Garnacho for 90 plus minutes. You understand? Yeah. And that is where, but hey, up to the next game, hopefully we play better. Hopefully it's not as frustrating as this one, but thanks for bringing me on. My first time on full-time view.
Yes. Really good stuff. Nice one. Well done, JJ. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you being a member. That's what the full-time view is all about. First-time caller, great call. Hopefully we'll see JJ again next time. That was excellent. Enjoyed that one. Always enjoy new voices. That's what the EV community is always about. So put flowers in the chat for JJ. Put applause, claps in the chat for JJ there. There you go, Chalaboy Comics. Great call, JJ. If you haven't already, click the like button. And there you go, Lil. Great call. Be sure to subscribe as well. Where we're going to go to next? Let's go to Eminem. Eminem. Yeah, couldn't really do back-to-back wins in the Premier League, could we? But what did you make of it all this evening? We've got a cliffhanger from Eminem. Got a cliffhanger.
I was on mute again.
We got there again. What did you make of it all?
It was actually I expected more today. I don't know. Maybe the international break just gave me a little bit of relaxation, and I was missing United a bit. But then after like half an hour, I just knew that it was just I was missing some rubbish football, to be honest. Yeah. We had some good moments. We had some good transitions in the first half. But I think what just essentially happened today was Nottingham Forest had a plan. They knew that United cannot break us down. They knew that attackers are not scoring, and basically they had this planned out. This was essentially going to be just win the ball and win on the transition. And they knew that we are very weak when it comes to defending transitions, and that's what happened today. And I think it was a case of individual mistakes. Obviously, Dorgu had a poor game, but you could just give him a bit of leeway. He just came into a new league, which is much more physical, and he's still learning his trade over here. However, I think Garnacho just, I said when he was available for sale in Jan, I said we should probably just do it, get that money, and I still
I remember you were one of the people sort of pushing back on the sort of narrative that United were pushing him out, weren't you? Sort of going, well, his people are talking to Chelsea. It's not necessarily the other way around. If that comes up again in the summer, do you think United should sort of consider it and go, actually, maybe he doesn't fit?
Yeah, 100%. Not just like he is talented. There's no denying that. But the way I see it, when Rashford came in, I don't think he is talented as Rashford was, as it is, or Martial when they came in. I think he's just he's got really good talent. But what frustrates me is that he's got an ego which shows. We've clearly seen it today that he wanted to be the hero today. Even like in the small, like if he has to pull off a quick shot, if you just pull that ball back and just make a pass of it, he doesn't want to do it. If he sees Dorgu on the overlap, even if Dorgu's having a bad game, he doesn't want to make that pass. He wants to be the hero. And we saw on the right side, he was being less selfish because he was forced to be less selfish because he's on the right side to make the passes. But as soon as he moved to the left, it was just about him. And I don't disagree. Like I think that's fine with obviously the young players. They can have that moment, but you still need to do the other things right. You still need to make those passes when you have the opportunity. You can't just keep on looking for a moment to cut in and shoot. And then I know the Leicester game, he scored a goal, which I thought he actually played well in. But what just showed what for Garnacho basically for me is like, you know, that goal that he scored that was ruled, I think it was offside, or it was just ruled out. He did a celebration where he went straight onto the side and he like posed, and that just showed me who Garnacho really is. Like he's a social media player. He wanted to create a cold moment for him, even though that's his first goal in maybe like 20 games, and like first good game in 20 games. And that for me, I think at this age, for a 20-year-old, I don't think that's a good sign. There's no doubt he's got talent, but I think it's better to just sell him and invest in the squad. I think there are better talent out there that we can actually recruit. We've got good recruitment. We just haven't used it over the years, and I think his future lies elsewhere, in my opinion.
Future lays elsewhere. Big up Eminem. Appreciate you calling in as always. What people say in the chat, JP's agreement going definitely. Benji says Sal Garnacho people gave him the Ronaldo song. He sucks. He isn't Ronaldo. K-Flow is quite funny. K-Flow says we usually lose post break. And then Real Recognize Real says some might say we just usually lose. K, it's not even post break, is it? You know, we got to lose a lot this season. So there you go, guys. That's the full-time view for you. Appreciate everyone that's called in. And it's one of my favorite shows to do. It might not be the show that gets the most views or whatever, but it's the show that brings us closer as a community. That's the most important thing. People getting on, people having their voices is part of your perks of being a member. Obviously, you get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive content, but you get the ability to call in. Like today, you had JJ with his first call, which was excellent. So if you're on the fence about calling in the future, just call in. Why not? We'll get you up on the show and we'll have a bit of a chin wag about Manchester United. There's something not to talk about when it comes to the games. We're pretty shit, but you can get your voice across. So, yes, indeed. What have we got coming up? Well, we should have reactions coming up from Flex, KG, Marcel will be coming up. Speaking of which, tomorrow we'll have morning view, which will be talking a lot about the game. Flex and myself. We'll have the full view. Will be tomorrow, 7 p.m. We'll have the full panel there as per usual. And then, of course, anything else that happens in between, we'll be talking about it here. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. And I will speak with you all tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Peace.